Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Monday, November the 13th, 2023. There is not much to be adding to what I presented on the podcast yesterday, but we're just going to do a quick update here. I'm going to start with the NASDAQ. I'm going to start on the 4-hour chart so we kind of get a picture of what is still going on. I'm still considering the drop off of the July highs as an diagonal triangle. I went into great detail yesterday as to why I'm continuing to maintain that count, and it completed intermediate wave 1. So it was a leading diagonal triangle, which are normally found within the first wave position or an A wave. In this case, first wave position. Now, that puts us in an intermediate wave 2 counter trend rally. Now, this rally has been very powerful. This rally has not actually given up. And if we're looking at the 4-hour chart, we can see the pullback was actually very, very minimal in terms of anything that we'd look at on a Fibonacci basis. So we topped out again. We have to go back on Friday. We came in and I think we got left off at 6 a.m. It was here. Oh, I got to go back because we got these 4-hour windows here. So let me just go down to my hourly chart. So this is how we got left on Friday. The market went up, reached 15,621, and then pulled back just a little. So then on yesterday during goldbacks, we pulled in, we went up, we dropped down. Now, the way that I'm taking this is inside this small, minute fifth wave. And that likely what we may have completed was there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're inside the minuet wave 5 of the minute wave 5. So we're down to the very small detail. Now, the next stage would be, well, what are we completing? Are we completing just wave A, or are we completing the entire ABC? Now, that I believe is going to really depend on how this all plays out and how high we get, and then against what is really coming out this week. What we have a pretty full week in terms of economic data and just what's going on around the globe, particularly around our own globe called the United States. Let's say with that. So tomorrow we have the consumer price index. So we have the CPI, and the CPI is going to come out at 8:30 a.m. Now, prior to that, we have a couple of Fed presidents and the vice chair of the Fed out speaking, and I believe they're going to be speaking in Europe because it's being listed as that they're going to start at 3 a.m. New York Fed President John Williams will be speaking 3 a.m. Eastern time, and that's tomorrow. And then at 5:30 a.m., Fed Vice Chair Philip Jefferson. So obviously they're not speaking somewhere here in the U.S. In the middle of the night. So that's what's going to start. So again, a lot gets put into, they're listening for little clues, what the Fed's thinking, what their plans are, what they're going to do. So then we have consumer price index tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. And then again, we have additional Fed speakers at 10 a.m. Eastern to 12:45 p.m. Eastern. Then on Wednesday, we have the PPI. And then we also have retail sales. We have the Empire State Manufacturing Service, business inventories. And then again, 2 more Fed speakers tomorrow, on Wednesday. On Thursday, we still got the Fed. They're still out there. I mean, every single day this week, the Fed's out on the stump somewhere speaking. And so then we have initial jobless claims on Thursday, Philly Fed, and industrial production. And again, full of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different Fed governors, vice chair, etc., out speaking on Thursday. On Friday, one more time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more speakers. Now, whether, and again, because of what they're starting on Eastern time, because also here in San Francisco and where I live is the Pacific, the Asian Pacific Economic Conference. And so that's going on all week. But the way that they're starting these, I would think that maybe even some of the afternoon ones, I don't know if those Fed are speaking here at that conference. But that's been going on all week as well. So it's a pretty full week. And again, I believe that the market is kind of hanging on right now to determine, okay, what are we going to do and how are we going to do it? And what news are they going to really be looking at and taking into consideration? We do know that after the dismal Fed 30-year bond auction, and that was right there, that the Fed chair, Powell, said, no, we may be raising rates again. So this whole concept of like, we're all done, just kind of got put on pause or tossed. So again, here we are. Now, I have kind of put together a big window of resistance that could possibly just put into completion either the wave A for sure. I would believe we're going to get this wave A done one way or the other if it is not already complete. So the way I've kind of got it labeled is that we've done A, B, and we're in the C, and it's the C that is the most powerful. It's the C where we saw the advanced decline just jump through the roof. It's the C that we, again, saw the breadth of the market just increased very dramatically, which threw a lot of signs out as to what possibly is going on, where we saw this huge amount of capital being brought back into the market, but via high-tech titans primarily. So it's not something that we haven't seen before. And again, we go back to May of this year. We had a very similar pattern, and not necessarily a similar, but it was also within the, let me go back out, I'm going to show you right here. This was a third wave, a part of a larger C wave, an intermediate C wave. This is an intermediate wave 2. C wave's going to come in a little bit bigger because its closest cousin in terms of wave pattern is a third wave. So an intermediate wave 2 has got a lot of power behind it. This one does, but we already know that characteristically that a second wave can also encompass a total reversal of direction, which we've now seen, strength in that direction, which we've now seen, and that it can retrace at least 62, possibly even more of that wave 1. It just can't exceed the starting point of wave 1. So again, what this market cannot do, or under this count, the market cannot break above 16,251. Therefore, then it's not a wave 2 and it's not correcting wave 1. Now, that would then put into place the alternate count that I presented yesterday. That's its most closest viable alternative in my view that could possibly be in. And then we definitely would be looking for a break above 16,251, but likely not getting above 16,767. So again, I think we're still really being contained here, and that we are still either finishing up an intermediate second wave or still finishing up this primary B wave. Notice I've kind of still left it off there. Because if this C wave is yet to kind of come in, then yeah, well, we're going to wait, and we're going to have to wait and see how it all comes out. But my process remains that we are within the final legs of, and again, depending on how high it gets, either the minor wave A, or we're completing the minor wave C to complete the intermediate wave 2. So here's our resistance levels. I have added the resistance levels and made a slight adjustment to the minute wave 5. So minute wave 5, all I got left is 2.618. And that comes in at 15,713. I'll round it up the 4 cents. Then I've added that within it, if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, so I've added for the minuet wave 5. Now on that one, we have 100% at 15,649. I'm going to round it up. And then if it gets through that, granted this one comes in, but next up we'd have, at least for this minuet, 15,762. Now, what we've got above it all, we have 786, which is again for the overall intermediate wave 2. We've got that at 15,800. I'm going to round that one up again. And then above that, we have the 2.618 for this 5th wave, should it extend. I would think that that's quite the extension. Although, the 3rd wave was pretty normal. So it could extend. And that would come in at 15,945. So we've got out of zone, and it actually is pretty much almost a 300-point zone. So you can see how if we kind of get up at the bottom end of this, particularly right here, 15,650, finish it up, and then turn and start to head lower and do it in a 3-wave pattern, then I'm going to be more convinced that it's just minor wave A. And then we're coming in on a minor B wave with yet a minor C wave still to go. That still, actually, I must tell you, is more my preferred view, because we are working our way into year end. We're getting a lot of Fed speak out all over the place. So I think the CPI and the PPI are going to give us and give the market a great deal of information as to what the Fed action may or may not be going into year end. So, and that at the same time, if it's going to be perceived that, okay, interest rates, a pause versus any cut, but a pause will be in place, that actually may already be priced in. So within the interest rate sector, I am continuing to look for it to finish and to continue on through its an intermediate degree B wave, a counter trend rally in the bond prices, treasury prices, futures prices, and a counter trend decline in the interest rates, in the yields. So again, if they're going to work in conjunction with one another, then this all will come together after we get all the Fed speak out, after we see what the CPI and the PPI are going to do. So for right now, it was not a horrible trading day. There were some trades to do, and it was very profitable day, but still a little 3 down, not big enough to be considered a B wave of anything. Well, but definitely big enough to be a small little 4th wave within this minute 5th wave up. There are our levels. Now, how is this doing with any of our moving averages here on the daily? Doing nothing. Flat, 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 flat. So we're stuck and we're waiting. The market is basically on pause, waiting for additional information on what the next move should be. So we have to stay open for the fact that it could continue to go up, but it may be finishing the whole shebang. And then our next move is going to be a much more serious tip over and the start of a larger move down. Not saying that that's what's going to happen. I am expecting an eventual, but I'm saying we need to get this information in to determine, are we first going to go up and go above those levels that we discussed above and put in a completion point for the primary B wave? right? So both alternates are suggesting that we're in a minor fifth wave going up. And that minor fifth wave going up, same deal you're going to get in the advanced decline, same deal you're going to get in the breadth of the market. It's going to show strength. It's going to be incredible. It's just going to push, push, and push. And it's really what it has done. But thus far, I'm finding that either count really stands with strength. Now it's up to the market and it's up to the data that we're going to get. Over here in the S&P, same deal. I'm looking at whether this is just going to be minor wave A completing, or is it going to be the whole intermediate wave 2. So I've just slightly made adjustments, but still here we are up here. And that on Thursday, last week, we completed minute wave 4. So either it's minute wave of minor wave A, or it's minute wave 4 of minor wave C. Yet to be determined. These are what I'm working with right now. Now, coming out of that, 1, 2, 3, 4, again, here we are inside a minuet fifth wave. And we got up, we reached actually, which would have been 1.618 via the small inside here for a minuet wave 5. We reached it. That was just a hair above where we got on Friday. I mean, and just 18 cents basically. So it got the high on Friday was 35. The high today was 36. We're talking cents in between the two. So, but was it enough? I don't know. What the market tells me afterwards, as you can see, I can just bring this down. Let's put it on the 15-minute chart and take a look. It just did nothing but went sideways. Had a nice rally up and then just went sideways. That resistance is 44.37.59. That high is 44.36.75. Close enough for government work, as we say. Could that have completed minor wave A? Not if it's going to do this. This kind of tells me A, B, C, D, E. What are we working here? So this inside, and then it gets even tighter. And here we sit up $1.75 into Globex, and everybody's just kind of looking. So it's the same deal. Our 15-minute, all the moving averages now are going to go get flat. So we do have some strong, not strong, but we have support, strong enough support that it likely will contain things overnight without any news, without anything happening around the globe, or even, without the news from our own economic news that we're looking for. I think the market just sits flat and basically likely is going to trade maybe down to that low of 44.07, but I think it all holds until we get additional data. So we're leaving open the potential that, yep, this could have completed a minor wave A. This could have completed the whole thing. But I'm feeling that the way that it's trading right now, there's still one more swing higher. So that would either push it to 44.37.60 or above to clear that. Next up would be 44.56. Beyond that, we have 44.70, which has been a standing resistance zone for the entire intermediate wave 2. And then what above that? We've got, I'd have to go back out to my hourly, 44.70. And then we have, again, for the larger intermediate wave 2, we have 45.65. So there might be, I probably could work more out in between here. Should it break 44.70 and look like it's just still got room to go, then there will be additional fibs, and it all could come via an extension. But this little sideways action that we got after today's rally up, and then just basically nothing. So we started the day, we went down, we finished that fourth wave, we rallied up. It did make the new high. So again, it could have completed, but I'm looking more, it needs to really start moving itself lower in a correction. Again, if this is a minute degree correction, or even if it's a minuet degree correction, it is getting us nowhere. It is very small, very insignificant. But that doesn't mean the market just can't keep going. So there's our levels. And in terms of the daily, the moving averages, flat, flat, still declining, turning flat. So that's it. Not much to go on. So I'm going to leave it right there. Our next update will be on Tuesday, November the 14th.